kept walking, tried not to show how much it hurt. People were looking at me funny, or not looking at me at all. Bruises were swelling up all over. Pain shot through me as I felt the crunch of broken glass beneath my feet. A woman coming the other way shook her head and muttered something. She looked at me like I was scum. I stared at her as I carried on, and I wasn't looking where I was going and tripped. It absolutely killed. I was always embarrassed if one of my friends came to our flat. The windows were boarded up and we didn't have proper furniture. It was a mess and most days Mum was drunk. One of my mates made a big deal about us not having carpets or wallpaper. After that, I didn't ask anyone else around. I just hung about the streets and parks. When I started secondary school, I made new mates. And there was nothing to do, so we made our own fun. We were banned from most of the shops. I got caught nicking once, and the shopkeeper held me prisoner until the old bill got there. They took me home, and Mum went mad that I brought coppers around. I didn't understand why she was bothered. I never had any money, but some of my older mates did. They started buying us drinks, cans of Coke, and sometimes beer. They shared out fags, and I thought they were real generous. I asked Alex where he was getting his money from, and he said it was from his fam. Alex was in care and hadn't seen his mum for years, so I don't understand what he meant. He said that he'd introduce me one day. One time, me and Alex were having a fag, when he got a call on his crappy little Nokia phone that I'd never seen before. Alex said that he had to go see Dave, and that I could come with him. The address he'd been given was a dirty-looking house. Alex told me to wait near the door, as he'd only be a minute. I saw Dave slyly pass Alex a wrapped-up bag that Alex quickly shoved into his bag. Dave looked at me and nodded. Then we left. For my 13th birthday, I really hoped that Mum got me some new trainers, as mine were wrecked. But instead she gave me some DVDs she got down at the pub. I said thanks, but didn't tell her that we didn't have a DVD player, or that I sold them. On the night, Alex gave me some beer and a joint and we got smashed. It was a right laugh. Dave turned up and said he heard it was my birthday and that I needed some new trainers. I couldn't believe it when he gave me 80 quid and told me to go treat myself. I didn't know what to say, but he just smiled and said, "This is what families do for each other." And I told him I owed him one, and he told me not to worry about it. I hung out with the group more and more. They helped me to see that we needed to stick together because everyone else was against us. One night, Dave asked me to help him by holding onto a bag for a few days for him. I told him of course I would, and was surprised when he gave me another 100 quid and told me not to go mess with it. I took it home and hid it. I was dying to know what was in it, but I didn't look. They trusted me and gave me more money than I'd ever held in my hands before. I hid that too, as I didn't want Mum finding it and asking questions or spending it. After that, I did more jobs for Dave. We had more money and new experiences than we'd ever had. It was amazing. I knew what was paying for all of this. We were moving and selling drugs, but we were doing it as a family. And it felt good that they believed me to do it right. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had a good future. Like I was in control. I was moving small amounts. The drugs were already wrapped, and I had to hide them in something like a drawstring bag or a paracetamol box. I was out one day when Dave pulled up in his car. He'd asked me if I'd seen Alex.
No.
I hadn't. He told me that when I did, I had to tell him that it was all over.
See Alex, you tell him he's out.
Alright.
Alright, mate.
And he told me I should meet him on Friday at 9 at the usual place. He said it was time I stepped up. It was Friday afternoon and I did see Alex, but it was being off with me. I told him what Dave said. He showed me that he had a tag on his ankle, and he said Dave would want me more now, as I was still clean. He looked at me strange. Funny thing is, getting his tag has given me my freedom. That was the last time I ever saw of him. I met Dave. He said I was going for a ride with Jay. I went to go and get in Jay's car, but he stopped me and popped the boot open and told me to get in.
No. Get in.
At first, I thought he was joking, but he looked dead serious. We travelled for over an hour. It was horrible, and a couple of times I started to freak out. When we finally got there, Jay led me into a house. Everyone inside was out of it. There was this big guy on a sofa with a young girl, and Jay told this nervous-looking guy to get the stuff. He fetched a bag of heroin and then slumped into a chair.
There's a phone. Don't miss the calls. I'll be back in a few days for the money.
So, depending on which one you go for, it doesn't really matter. I like the nude for sort of an everyday, if you like. But this is going to deal with and target those key areas in the one item. You don't need your separates here. £37.28.
I was there for 3 days. I took calls on the phone and all sorts of people came to the door. I let them in and sold them drugs. Sometimes they stayed there for a few hours. Sometimes they were straight off. The nervous guy stayed. He was always high. And I figured this must have been his house. I counted the money I'd taken. There was more than a couple of grand, and I kept it close to me. I was starving and bored, so I was relieved when Jay came back. He took the money but gave me a couple of notes and told me to get the train home. He said to take a packet back home with me. I tried to tell him that I didn't even know how to get a train and that the packet was too big for me to hide inside my mouth. He told me I should hide it up in my ass. It really hurt. When I finally got home, I was knackered. Then Mum gave me the, "Where the hell have you been?" She said she'd nearly had to report me missing and get the coppers round again. I just needed some rest.
Alfie, I'm talking to you!
And tried to get my head straight. Next day I saw Dave. He told me to get in the car.
You alright?
He gave me 200 quid and smiled. He said, "How else would you earn money like that, Alfie? You're with us now." He said he'd take me to get a haircut. He told me that I was doing well and that he was proud of me. No one had ever said that to me before. It felt good. I was trusted to do more jobs and things were good for a while. But then something happened. I was moving a large packet of drugs for Dave when his two guys in masks jumped me and made me give everything I had. They made me pull my pants down and check that I didn't have any more inside me. I gave them everything I had. They beat me up anyway. Dave heard what happened and came to my house. I thought he'd be worried for me, but he was angry. And I'd never seen him like that before. He told me that either I was lying to him or that my mistake meant that I owed him 3 grand and I had to pay back. Mum came in and told him to leave. But he grabbed her and told her that he could kill both of us and not even regret it.
Your son owes me £3,000 and
I hadn't seen Mum scared like that for a long time.
every penny.
She didn't speak to me much after that and seemed to be drinking more than ever. After that, I worked for Dave more and more, going to all these different places. He kept reminding me that he'd welcomed me into the family and that I'd let him down. I kept working to prove myself and pay him back. I felt squeezed up, like they're after me and won't leave me alone. I wanted a life, a job, a family, all the normal things. But I was in their pocket. I was trapped. I had lost control of my life and had become a slave. if I slipped up or didn't do as I was told, they'd hurt me and my mum. The fans stopped giving me money now, because of the debt I still had to pay. I was carrying some cash one time, and I took just enough for a burger and chips. I mean, I was starving, but someone must have seen me. In the morning, I did what I was told and went to meet Dave.
Oi, you. You don't do that. You lose things when you double cross the family. Get his trainers, boys. You're losing them this time. That's what you're part of the family. You don't do that. Do you hear me? You hear me? Come on, lads. Let's go. Come on. Let's do it.
That's how I ended up here. As I sat there, a lad I recognised from my old school stopped to stare at me.
What are you looking at? Yeah, what do you want?
Just want to see you. What's happened to you?
What's your name?
I'm Alfie.
Alfie. My name's Rob. I live just over there.
A man said his name was Rob and asked me what happened. I didn't tell him.
What's happened
I wasn't going to grasp my street fam.
Go on, tell me.
I just told him I'd been jumped from behind. He said that I didn't have to tell him anything, but if I ever wanted to talk, that I could just trust him.
Somebody sorted me out.
He told me he'd been in trouble when he was younger,
Looked out for me.
and that if it wasn't for someone who sorted him out,
This kind of bother,
he would have been locked up, or even dead. I didn't say much, but I listened. The lad came back and gave me a pair of old trainers. They were a bit big, but he said I could keep them. Rob told me how to get hold of him if I ever needed help, and said I should get myself home. I liked that someone saw me for me. I still felt trapped, but I started to think that there might be people who wanted to help me, who saw the good in me. I walked off home. I needed some rest. I needed to get my head sorted out and think about what I can do to get out of this mess.